Welcome to episode 2 of Stream on the Edge. Today is October 16th, 2022, and I am Michael Feyrer Jr. On this week's show, man, we have a lot of awesome stuff that's going to help you be a better live streamer and YouTuber. In our plugin of the week segment, I'm going to show you a tool that will allow you to put any audio or video asset directly over top any scene. It's awesome. Our Yotube Elevated segment is going to answer the age-old question, do tags really matter? Then we have a cool OBS tutorial that's going to help you streamline your live stream, and I react to the stream of one of the biggest streamers on the planet. And there's so much more. You're definitely going to want to see the new segment this week, I Hate Analytics, so be sure to stick around. But for now, let's get right into the news for this week. So the headline this week is definitely an email that some YouTubers are getting that says their Adsense account is being closed. First off, I've seen on Twitter people saying that this is a scam. This is not a scam, but don't panic. This is just a transition that YouTube is making that's going to separate YouTube ad revenue from Adsense. So if you are monetized on YouTube, you're still going to continue to get your money. Nothing is going to change. But if you don't have a website or something else that uses advertising, they're going to close the AdSense portion of the account. Again, you don't have to do anything at all and you're still going to get your YouTube ad revenue. The plugin of the week this week is a game changer, so you know what? Let's get to it! This week's plugin is something that exists in every professional broadcast package out there. It is so awesome that you can now add this to OBS. It's called the Downstream Keyer and it's easy to add and use. It allows you to add assets like video or audio over the top of any scene without directly adding those assets into the scene. There is a link in the description so you can download it and check it out for yourself. So let me show you how it works. So to install this, we're going to go to this page right here and we're going to click the download button. Now the links to this are in the description. You can see that we have a Windows install and a Windows install, Linux and Mac OS. We're going to use the Windows installer. Pretty sure this Windows zip is just the files to put in the folder. It's a lot easier to just use the installer, so we're going to download that. And once it's downloaded, we're just going to go into our downloads folder and I'm going to right click and extract all. And it extracts it. We can just go into the folder and I'm going to go ahead and click on the Downstream Keyer installer. I'm going to click on more info and then run anyway. Then you want to verify that it is the proper location for your OBS. If it is not, go ahead and click Browse and go to it. Yours is probably located in C, Program Files, and then it will be OBS-Studio, like you see there, OBS-Studio. Mine is actually E/OBS-Studio, so I'm going to leave it there. Click Next, and we can call it whatever we want. Next, and install, and finish. And now, Downstream Keyer is installed in our OBS. Now the first thing we're going to do once we have it all installed is go up into Docs in OBS and we're going to select Downstream Keyer. It's going to put it over here. If it doesn't and if it's just floating like this, all you have to do is grab it and stick it wherever you want in your overlay, and there you go. Now it's in there. And we see we've got a name up here. We can rename this, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rename it. And we're going to go with WOB, which stands for Wheel of Blame. It's a thing that I use on my live stream. And then all we have to do is go down into scenes, and we're going to add a scene. And this one, I'm going to call this DK for Downstream Keyer. And then we're going to call it WOB. And then we're going to add MFJ there for the source that I'm going to add. And then I'm going to go into our media sources. And I'm going to go ahead and add WOB-MFJ, and there we go. Now, why did we do this? Well, we want to know that this scene is really for the Downstream Keyer, which is what DK is for. And I like to call all my downstream keyer stuff that, just so I know. And then what we got to do is go here and select that. And there we go. Click OK. And this is what this looks like. It will appear over top of any scene. It's very, very cool. So all we have to do to add this to the downstream keyer is click this little plus right here while we have the scene selected. And boom. So now we have this in the downstream keyer. So if I go to any other scene and then I just select it, it will play right over top of that scene. But the best part is, if I transition to another scene, it will still continue to play right over top until it's finished. And then of course it will disappear if that's how you have it set up. Or if you have it set up to loop, it will loop. It will just keep playing. If you want it to stop, all you have to do is click the pause button. So if I play it, I can just click the pause button. It will immediately go away. Now, that's awesome because I don't have to put the Wheel of Blame, which has 25 entries, in every single scene that I want to use it in. I can just create a Wheel of Blame in the downstream keyer. I can select anything I want, and it automatically plays over top of any scene that I'm in. So maybe something like that isn't useful to you, but let's go ahead and do another one, DK. And we'll call this one, I'm ready. And we'll click OK. And then what I'm going to do is click the plus here. And we're going to add a media source. And in this case, we'll call it I'm ready. We're going to click Browse. We're going to go ahead and add something from our live soundboard. Click OK. And OK. And this is super loud, so I'm going to make sure that I adjust the volume down so it's not blasting somebody's ears. But this is an audio clip that we would use in a soundboard. So all I have to do is go up here and click this dial. And then I can go and add. And we'll call this soundboard. And bada bing. I can select soundboard. Select the I'm ready. Click the plus right here. And now I'm ready is in there. So now any scene that I go to, if I go ahead and select this, you'll see that clip is playing right there. I can add a soundboard down here in scenes, add it to the downstream keyer. It can appear in every single scene. So one of the other ways that I like to use this, and you want to make sure that you go ahead and you pause these after they're done, especially if you have them on the loop. Here's another way that I really like to use this. So let me click the plus. We're going to go to DK. And we're going to call this alerts. Because who really wants to add alerts to every stinking scene? Or maybe you're changing scenes when alerts come in or something. It's just a pain in the booty. Then we're going to go up here and we're going to go to our browser. And we'll call this alert. And what I'm going to do is we'll do 1920 by 1080. And I'm going to go over here and we're going to grab our alerts from here, and we're going to come into here and we'll paste them in there. If we want to use the audio from the alerts, we'll go ahead and control the audio via OBS. Click OK. And so there we go. If I save, that guy will disappear, as you'll see here in a moment. There we go. All right, so now we have our alerts in here. All we have to do is click this little gear, add, and we'll go with alert, and boom. And then we'll select the alerts, and we're going to go ahead and add in our alerts. So now, if we just keep that selected all the time, no matter what scene we're on, our alerts are going to play. Let me show you. We'll go here, and we're just going to emulate, and we'll kick off our subscriber alert, and there we go. Our alerts are playing no matter what scene we're on. And what I'm going to do is go back over here, show you that all the alerts will play as well. So if we go over here, there we go. That one played. It plays over top of any scene because, of course, we have it turned on. But you know what the best part about this is? If I have the alerts turned on, well, I can also go over here and I can turn this on as well. It will play through any scene. And then if I go ahead and I kick this off, boom, it's over top of that other thing that it's over top of. So you can use the downstream keyer to add all kinds of layers to your live stream for things that you don't want to have to import into every scene. Well, you just create scenes down here and you use the downstream keyer to give you everything that you want at your fingertips at any time. And the best part is that these can all be hotkeyed. Let me show you. So if we go into hotkeys right here, and all we have to do, it's actually right here. If we go, let's say we wanted to do the Wheel of Blame stuff. So it says show on DSK1, and you have to remember that DSK1 was what this was called before we changed the name. If we go out and come back in, it's probably going to be correct. But either way, we can make the key backspace right here like that and click apply. And now when we click the backspace key, it's automatically going to play it. If we click it again, it's automatically going to stop playing it. So you can literally hotkey all of these. For instance, let's go ahead and do the soundboard one as well. So we'll go into hotkeys and we're going to go to the I'm ready right here. And we go to the soundboard and we can make this whatever hotkey we want. And click apply and OK. And we don't physically have to be on there, but when we click it, there we go. We can see that it's playing. We can stop it. You can literally set these up so that you can use them in any scene that you want and even hotkey them. I love the downstream keyer. It's an awesome tool. I have a really good one for you this week on Yotube Elevated. So let's get to it. YouTube tags. Do they really do anything on YouTube these days? Well, in certain circumstances, they can help, but let me explain. Before the algorithm, YouTube would read the tags and categorize a video to deliver it to the correct audience. But of course, people would use this to game the system by using popular tags, even if they had nothing to do with the video. So these days, YouTube has a machine that essentially watches your video and uses the dialogue and images to determine the subject of the video. Now this process is not perfect, but in general it's pretty good at figuring out what the video is about and suggesting it to the proper audience. But of course this process all but eliminates the need for video tags. Now I'm still in the habit of using them anyways, and on occasions where things are commonly misspelled, it's always good practice to put the common misspelling in the tags for search purposes. But otherwise, they're really just a remnant of the old YouTube system and not used for video placement. So the reality is if you stopped using them altogether, it would have no effect on the performance of a video, as long as the title and the thumbnail match the subject of the video. For me, I still use them anyways, just in case something changes again, as long as the option exists. But you know me, I'm old school. I'm really excited for this next segment, so let's move on. Today on Mike Reacts, we're going to talk about probably my favorite game streamer. And I don't watch a lot of game streams, just so you know. But I absolutely love Dr. Disrespect. First of all, he's an older streamer, like me. And I get his sense of humor. And the second piece is that it's not just a standard game stream. Dr. Disrespect is playing a character the entire time, and that character is so ridiculously over the top that it's just fun. But if you've never seen it, let's take a look. So Dr. Disrespect has kind of a standard fare of intros. Really, you see a lot of this on other channels, but you can tell that someone spent a lot of time working on this on his team. And I love the way that the countdown, when it moves across the screen, you see the reflection in the water on the bottom. I mean, someone put a lot of thought into this and spent a lot of time on it. And of course, that's the benefit of having a pretty big team to help you do it.
The name. 6'8", 37-inch vertical leap. Breaded head to tippy toe. A jawline that will slice and deliver all the goods needed to get the job done. An Ethiopian poisonous caterpillar, deadly. The Black Steel, aka the bulletproof mullet.
So there's a pretty long intro. I didn't play the whole thing, but he does play homage to his beginnings, where he won the blockbuster tournaments and that sort of stuff, which is all part of his shtick. And then we see the intro where we're introduced to him for the first time, and you can see that he plays a character. Dr. Disrespect is not a real person, and he really plays it up. It's a lot of fun. To me, if you're like a wrestling fan or something like that, and you're a person who loves the heel, the bad guy, he's perfect. You're absolutely gonna love Dr. Disrespect. And there's one reason why this whole shtick works, but I'll talk about that later. The only thing you need to know at this point is he has an entire lore around this character that he plays up all the time, and it's a lot of fun. The other thing that's totally clear about this intro section right here where he's talking is that even big streamers with big budgets and all kinds of producers in the background still have technical problems. As you can hear, his microphone cuts in and out. It does happen, and it's gonna happen for you. It always happens for me on occasion. Problems happen when you're live streaming, and that's what makes it live. So it's nice to see one of the big guys have the same kind of problems as some of us little guys have. Makes him human.
Doctor, you got little gray hairs on your Ethiopian poisonous caterpillar. What's going on there? I'm literally. Do we not talk about this? When this thing's alive, number one. Number two, there's seasonal changes. I mean, what do you want me to do?
So here he's playing to the lore. He's having fun with his audience. This is the character that he plays. And for me, it's freaking hilarious. For other people, maybe it's cringy and goofy, but it really works for him, and I think it's hilarious. On this main scene where he's talking to the audience, obviously he sits in front of a green screen. He has another screen in the background. On there, you'll see him occasionally review game trailers and talk about things that are happening on YouTube, review other people's gaming footage or stuff like that. And of course, he does all this in character, which makes it particularly fun.
Now it's your turn. Now you're gonna die. Yeah, come down. Come. Don't be shy.
Yo, you're funny, bro.
You're funny, bro.
I got stuck though.
How am I? Double nated. Wow, you double nated me, bro?
Do you want me to balloon to you? What do I do?
I'd say
Or do you
play
want
it
to
safe.
fly off?
Hey, it's a 1v1, it should be.
Is there a bot in my left swag that I can hit you at? I'm gonna fly to it right now so you can get loaded. God, that's so far.
Still not down. Let's go, Doc. Let me see something.
Oh my god.
Now here you see a clip of him gaming, and he's not talking very much. In some of his games, he just talks incessantly and makes fun of his opponents and all kinds of really entertaining stuff. But in this example, you get to see why the character works. The character works because he talks all kinds of crap and plays this way over the top character, but he's that good. He gets in these games and he snipes like there's no tomorrow. I mean, it's hard to find another player who really does the same kind of stuff that he does, and he plays it up with the character, which makes it that much more entertaining. You couldn't possibly be a fun heel if you couldn't back it up, and he backs it up. So that is one thing you need to understand if you're going to play a character or something like that on your live streams. You gotta back it up. It has to be backed up by gameplay or whatever. And he backs it up, which just makes watching his streams really entertaining. This next one you're definitely not going to want to miss, because I'm going to show you how to find sound effects and music for your live streams that are totally free, and it's really easy to do. So let's get to it. A lot of people ask me where they can find copyright-free sound effects for their soundboard or music for their video edits. So today on Edit Your Stream, I'm going to show you how to find the free stuff and how to add sound effects and music to your edits in Davinci Resolve. If you aren't familiar with Davinci Resolve, it's a totally free editing tool that you can use to edit your streams up to produce recorded content. It's by far the fastest way to grow your stream, and there are links in the description so you can download it and check it out. So let's add some sound effects. So there's actually a tool included in YouTube that can give you all the sound effects you could possibly need, and they're free to use. All you have to do is go into your dashboard and then go to the audio library right here. And then you can click on sound effects right here, and you have an entire list of sound effects. Look, 728 pages of 30. Lots and lots. But if you wanted specific sound effects, well, you could just click this, and let's go with WOOSH, whoosh sounds, and boom, we have whoosh sounds. And all you have to do is click over here to play them. And there we go. Alright, so let's just take this one here and we'll go back into our sound effects library and let's search for splash sounds. Alright, I like this one. There we go. So now we've got two different sounds, and they're free. We can use them. We don't have to worry about any copywriting or anything like that. They also have music, so you can filter this by different categories, genre right here. So if you wanted rock, you can select rock and apply, and you can go through here and listen to them. You know, it has moods and the whole 9 yards. Really easy to find music for your live stream or for your videos. So let me show you how to use these sound effects. And you know what? Let's actually download some music as well so I can show you how to use that. We'll just grab this track right here. And I'm going to show you how to set these up and use them in Davinci Resolve to edit up your streams into usable content. Now that we have our free sounds, let's add them to our edit. Okay, so here we have an intro clip and my live stream clip. I've got a transition in here, which I showed you guys last week. Hopefully you checked that video out. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our downloads and grab the things that we just downloaded. So we've got the music, the splashing water, and the sploosh. We're going to just move it over here. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and line this up. So now that we have all of our clips in here, we want to use the swoop or the swoosh to make a sound effect for our little slide transition. So I'm going to select the swoosh and I'm going to bring it down here and just stick it right there. And now we're going to have swoosh. Here we go. Recorded content. Let me know. There we go. So we could speed this up a little bit so it sounds more correct. And we'll try to line it up to the beginning. And there we go. Eating recorded content. Let me know. There we go. So we can adjust the volume on this by just going like this and adjusting this little line here. Make it a little quieter. Content. Let me know. There we go. So that's how easy it is to add a sound effect. We can add the splashing water to it as well if we want to. We can just go ahead and right click and we can cut that. And we'll add some splashing water instead. We'll select that clip, bring it down here. And all we have to do is clip this up a little bit. And we'll clip it right here. And we'll go ahead and cut that. And we can go ahead and select here. Maybe turn the splash up just a touch. And let's see what that sounds like.
Recorded content. Let me know where you.
There we go. That's pretty cool. Maybe we add a different transition so it makes more sense, but it still works.
Let me know.
There we go. So if you wanted to add music, it's just the same. You just drag it in here like this. And we're going to adjust the volume down so that it just plays as background music. And we'll have a transition.
Let me know where you're from.
And there we go. We've got some music playing. So what we can do here is we can adjust the volume on the sound by going right here and adding some of these little pieces here. So we select which one we want and we go ahead and add a little point. So what we're going to do is click here to add a little point there. Then we'll bring this over here and we'll add another point. And what we can do then is we can drag this down. So this will add a fade in at the beginning of the volume right there.
Content. Let me know where you're from in the comments. Let's go over it.
There we go. And you can add points anytime in here that you want to adjust the volume of the audio. And then we can add a point in the center here. And we can just drag this down like that. And we can make the points more rounded or however we want to do it. If you want to adjust the points from that perspective, you go down here and you just adjust the type of point so you can make the curve more rounded or more square. We can move this around. You can flatten the bottom out if we like by going like that. We can go over here and we can adjust the curve as well. We want it on that side. So there we go. So now we've adjusted the curve so that it turns down the music slowly, turns it up slowly. We can do the same thing at the beginning here. If we want this to fade in or out, we'll put this little thingy on here. Go like that. And we can go ahead and grab this little knobby here. And we can adjust how that works as well. There we go. And so now it'll fade in.
Let me know where you're from in the comments. Let's go over it.
And we can adjust this volume down a little bit. And that's how easy it is to control the volume on your music or your sound effects or anything like that in Davinci Resolve. Now you know how to find them and how to add them. Now that's one more tool in your editing tool belt. If we keep doing these every week and you keep following along, you're going to be an editing pro in no time. I have a really cool OBS tutorial for you this week, so you know what? Let's get to it! OBS lets you add hotkeys to pretty much anything that you can do in OBS. This makes it so easy to change scenes or play media like video or sound. Using hotkeys can make running your stream so much easier. So let me show you how they work. Here we are in OBS, and hotkeys are one of the most basic features, but a lot of people don't use them or they don't understand how to use them. So it's going to be simple for me to show you this today. We're going to go into settings and we're going to go to hotkeys, and basically you see we have a bunch of scenes set up over here on the left. If we scroll down, you're going to see each one of those scenes listed over here on the side. So after that, you're going to have all of the media sources listed, and of course it helps if you have your media sources named properly so that they're not just media source, media source, media source. We will make do. So the first easiest way to use this is the switch to scene. So we can go with something like this, and we can switch between all of our different scenes, and you can of course match up the numbers or whatever. You're probably going to want to have your scenes named. That just makes more sense than the way I did it. But there we go. We've added hotkeys to all the scenes. So now we can switch between scenes by just clicking a button. It's really pretty simple. But what if we wanted to modify, say, this background source here? let's go ahead and see. So this background source is just called media source, but let's rename it so we can actually see what it's called. And we'll call this the W, and we'll name it that. All right, and then we'll go into settings, and we can go into our hotkeys. And all we have to do is scroll down to that scene, which is scene 6, and we're going to see our piece in there. So what we can do is we can add a hotkey to show and hide that particular video. And we can click apply, and there we go. We can turn that asset on and off really, really easy. Now we can also find that asset in our asset library here. So we've got media source and all this kind of stuff, soundboard, source switcher, the W. So maybe we want to pause it or mute it or something like that. Well, how about we just pause it and play it. We have to delete the other one. So there we go, because we use the same hotkey. All right, and now if we wanted to be doing commentary on this video, we could play it and pause it anytime we want, and then start it up again anytime we want. It makes it really easy to do commentary on a video, and it's a lot of fun as well. Now those are just a couple of simple ways that you can use hotkeys. You can actually put them on filters to add effects and all kinds of things over top of your videos. So for example, if you wanted to start a green screen up, if you were using a virtual green screen, you could easily add that and have another background in the background as well, just by clicking a hotkey. It's really, really simple and easy to use. It's totally cool. Definitely experiment with your hotkeys to see the kind of neat things that you can do. This next segment is one you truly don't want to miss. You aren't going to find this sort of small bite-sized chunks of this kind of information anywhere else. So let's get to it! Today I want to teach you how to use the two most important parts of the YouTube analytics. Now I know there's a lot to the analytics, and believe me, all of it can be useful. But at first, when you're starting out, it's just way too much. The two things that I'm going to show you today are the only thing that the YouTuber needs to know when they first get started. In fact, if this is all you learn in the beginning, you can find success. Then over a couple of weeks in this segment, we're going to work to expand that knowledge, because I hate analytics too. I can only stand small bites at a time. So to do this, we're going to bring in my guest analytics expert, Michael Panetta from Tech Examined and the Apple Helpline, to show us the two most important pieces of the analytics. So Michael, what is the average view duration?
So basically, average view duration, or AVD for short, this is how long someone sticks around and actually watches your video. You get an average based on how long the video is and how long people are actually watching. Now, once the video has been up for a little bit, this information and data will populate in your analytics, and you can actually see it down to the second.
So show us how we read the average view duration analytics.
Well, there's actually a couple places that you can find it. First and foremost, for your entire channel. Once you're looking at your dashboard, you're going to click on Analytics, and you can actually see on your Content tab, on the far right side here, is what your average view duration is for your entire channel. Now, this will keep you going. The more content that you put up, the more you're going to see, and the more you're going to be able to get out of it. And again, if you're just starting up for the first time and putting a first video up, this is going to take a while to occur. If you want to take a look at an individual video, you can go into your Content tab, and we're going to take a look at one of my videos, this one right down here. You're going to click on the Analytics. Now, this is a little bit different. This video has been up for a while. You're going to go ahead on the main page here where you see your views, and you're going to scroll down till you see Key Moments for Audience Retention. And your average view duration along with the average percentage of the video viewed. Now, this particular video is 7 minutes and 38 seconds long, and the average view duration is 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and they viewed 45% of the video. Now, that is actually really good for me. I'm happy with that as far as people watching the video. Now, because this has fully populated, you can actually go in here and watch your video down to the second to see where people are dropping off, where they're watching again. and you can follow it along the entirety to be able to evaluate what you need to do to keep them on longer.
What is good average view duration on my channel?
Well, it really depends on your content. Of course, you want people to watch 100% of the video, but I don't really think that's possible because you do have to curb your expectations. Every video is different, so what you really need to worry about are your numbers from your past videos, and this portion of the audience retention that I just showed you will allow you to go through and see where your audience is reacting the most or where you're losing them the most, and that way you can make the adjustments to be able to increase that number and get as high as you possibly can.
So what exactly is click-through rate?
Well, this is based on number of impressions that the YouTube algorithm gets on your video, and it determines how many people actually clicked on the video. Now, it is pretty simple, but to get people to actually click on it, that's definitely the hard part. This stat is based on two things, the thumbnail and the title. Now, you can make the most enticing thumbnail that will stir emotion in people, and they might be interested to click. But sometimes with a combination of the title as well is what you need to tell the story. Now, it's important to start with this because it really lays the foundation for the rest of your channel. You can find this information on your analytics as well. And if you have a current video uploaded, you can actually see it here on your dashboard. Now, if you want to go into a particular video, the same thing applies. Whoop, hold on. Now, here on your dashboard, you're actually looking at your current video. I'm going to show you the same thing here real quick in the analytics to get your overall channel click-through rate, or CTR for short. And it's in that same spot under content. And you click on that, and that'll give you the information that you're looking at. So you can kind of see where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going, so you can determine what you need to do. So if you want to take a look at an individual video, let's use the same example that I had before. This particular video you knew was already 7 minutes and 38 seconds long. Now, on the video itself, you're going to click on the Reach tab. And here is where you're actually going to see your Impressions tab right here. Now, I must say, I'm pretty happy with the 8.1% that this video got. And you can see where when the video went up, it will update every 24 hours to give you the average of the click-through rate that you've had for that day.
What is a good click-through rate on my videos?
Of course, you want the highest as possible, which means people really like your thumbnail and title. Now, this all depends on the niche that you're in. I've seen people with 30, 40, 50% click-through rate, and I've seen other channels with, 10, 5, 4, even 1%. Now, keep in mind, this is based on the amount of impressions that you're getting. If you have a video blow up on YouTube, it's everywhere. That video is going to be shared to a wider audience. So if you have a video that's doing that well, it might have a ton of impressions and people are seeing it, but they just might not be clicking on it.
So if your video is getting a lot of impressions, it might actually push your click-through rate down, right?
Exactly. Now, if you want to go on the flip side of that, depending on how many views or impressions you have, this particular video, which is on a very young channel, had a click-through rate of 30.8%. Now you might be saying to yourself, wow, that's really awesome compared to what the rest of you're getting. That must have done really well. Well, keep in mind that after the first day of that video, I had about, let's see here, 15 views. So, there's not many people watching it and it's not sharing it out to too many people. So you have to keep in mind on that sample size, it isn't wide enough to be able to really figure out. Now, the overall video is at 8.1. I'm very happy with that based on the impressions and the views that the video got. And hopefully it will continue on. Now, if it gets shared out to a wider audience, chances are that might actually drop a little bit. It's nothing to worry about. It's good that it's going out to a wider audience. Now, that thumbnail may not be perfect for the wider audience, and that's part of the game that we play. You got to be able to determine what it is it's going to invoke in motion for those people to click on that video.
Okay, so now you understand how to read these panels and how important they are. I'm going to let Michael tell you some of the things that you can do to improve your average view duration.
So really, if you want to improve your average view duration on a video, you have to work at what your audience is responding to. Like I mentioned with the retention, you're going to know where people were watching, maybe they watched again, and where they dropped off. So just practice makes perfect, essentially, and that way you'll be able to feel what your audience wants and really how you can continue to grow as a content creator. Basically, it's plug and play. You have to analyze and adjust as you're putting those videos up. Keep in mind, one video might do really well, one might do really bad. That's what you have to determine what your audience wants, and you've got the next video to come back.
But there are some specific things that you can look at or you can do to increase your average view duration, right?
Yeah, absolutely you can. Like on this video right here, for example, I went through and made a very enticing hook when I started this video. I was asking my daughter some weird questions. I had some really crazy music going on to really have people be like, what are they talking about? What seems to be going on? So if you can hook your audience in to start the video with something that is, I don't want to say controversial, but maybe some epic event that occurred during your video, or some sort of slick editing to go ahead and basically intrigue them to say, well, why do I want to watch this video? And the other important thing is to plan. Organize the video on where it is that you want to say things. And in some cases, you want to write a script or notes so you can keep yourself on point. That's a great place to start because you're going to know what people want and what you're going to need to change as you move on.
Now, click-through rate can be improved by creating better thumbnails and titles. And this is an art form and a skill learned over time. But at the same time, there are ways to improve it right away. You definitely want to choose really bold fonts that are clearly visible if you use text. It took me a long time to find one I really liked, but you're going to know it when you find it. Next, you're definitely going to want to try to tell a story with your thumbnail to the best extent possible. And it can be hard to do, but facial expressions, good imagery, and text can go a long way to tell a good story in a thumbnail. Statistics show that faces with excited expressions tend to get more clicks, so always keep that in mind. Then you want to use bright colors like yellow because they do attract more attention. Once you have a thumbnail that you want to use, make it really small on your screen and see if you can still easily read the text and understand what the imagery is trying to tell you. Now on my thumbnails, I personally find that I almost always see something that I can tweak to make it look more visually interesting and understandable. So I make those changes and I brighten stuff up and I change things and maybe change the background, something like that. Do everything you can to make that thumbnail pop. Now, the thumbnail is the first thing that anyone's gonna see before they watch your video. And if they don't click, no one's gonna watch. So this is really important. Now, as far as titles go, they have to be interesting to get clicks. They just have to be. So don't be afraid to be hyperbolic, but you need to be sure that you actually deliver. Don't title a video, "I didn't eat for a week," with a thumbnail of you laying in a hospital bed, and then give the audience a 24-hour fasting video where you talk about the benefits of fasting. That's just not close enough to go with the story that you told in the title and the thumbnail. Be hyperbolic, but be honest. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's Stream on the Edge. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this format. I really do appreciate it. Your likes and comments and all that stuff really do help to push the video to a wider audience, which makes it easier for me to continue to do this stuff. And of course, I'll be doing this again next week, so I'll see you in the next one.